Is learning driven by the head or the heart? Let me clarify first. What I mean by that is cognitive or affective. Is learning driven by knowledge and thinking, or is it driven by mood, attitude, and feelings? What I want you to take away from this session is that when you're learning new habits, skills, or even knowledge, we are a little bit like icebergs in the sense that the parts that we're more aware of, conscious, are the things that we know, the things that we think about. However, there's underneath that a much larger component that is the affective component, the things that we feel, our attitude, our mood. And our behavior is heavily driven by this part that we're not so aware of. To make it really simple, let's think about it as thinking versus doing. And please remember this. If you want outcomes, you should focus on what you do, your behavior. Or if you're designing learning experiences, you should focus on what students do, their behaviors, not knowledge or thinking. The reason I think this is important is that very often there's a gap between what we think and what we do. Let me give you some examples. In the United States alone, 40% of premature deaths could be prevented by changing behavior. So the non-preventable deaths are death by accident or terminal illness. But these 40%, they could be prevented by eating better, exercising more, quit smoking, quit drinking, socializing more. But people don't do it. In essence, they prefer to die than to change their behavior. It's crazy. And this just goes to show how hard it is to change behavior. This may all seem obvious to you, but let me give you some examples of when our thinking is at odds with our doing. At an individual level, it's the end of the year, they make a New Year's resolution. Next year I'm gonna work out, I'm gonna sign up for a gym, and I'll be in shape. And then 2/3 of them never show up. The same applies to losing weight, or smoking is the Mount Everest of behavioral change. The success rate of people who decide, okay, New Year resolution, I'm going to stop smoking. The success rate is 3%. But how does it relate to learning outcomes? Let's look at what happens when people try to learn something, especially when it comes to online, because in online, a lot of the affective components of learning experiences are taken away. Whether it's social or contextual, it's just the learning in the head. In language learning, for instance, people decide, oh, I'm going to learn English. It's good for my career. It's going to open up opportunities. I'm going to do it. They sign up, they pay for a course, and then more than 80% don't really use it. And it's not just in language learning. When you look at completion rate of online courses, for instance, it falls between 5 to 15%. So the success rate is quite low. And why is it? They know. Up here, they know, and they're thinking, this is going to be good for me, I'm going to go do it. And yet, they don't do it. And it's because there's a lot at the affective level that's missing. What people think is not what they do. They want to learn something, but they don't do what it takes to learn it. People want to lose weight, but they don't do what it takes to lose weight. Learning a skill or even memorizing something is the same way. If you want it, there are things that you need to do in order to get it. And there are many variables that have an impact on your success at an individual level, at a social level, at a contextual level. In a later video, I'll go into the details of how we can design learning experiences that will promote the behaviors that lead to learning. For now, I want you to shift your focus from what is immediately visible, the part on the surface, to the affective side of our iceberg, because they drive behaviors, and behaviors drive learning.